Hey, welcome to the show. I'm John F. Gately. You can call me Jack. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm coming to you from beautiful Plymouth, Massachusetts, behind enemy lines here in Massachusetts. And I wanted to bring you an update about that story we talked about a week ago and the CRT training at my kid's school, Plymouth South High School in Plymouth, Massachusetts. So just to bring you a quick update, there was a Facebook post by the school. It was like, we're coming up with a new racial identity for our school. And I said, what was that? My wife actually asked me. She brought it to my attention. And she's like, what is that? And I got a really kind of cryptic answer back from the school on their Facebook page. And then I was like, okay, I got to know more. So I filed a public records request. And kudos to the school in this regard is that they responded to the public records request very, very quickly. And I got the actual documents. Where did they go? Oh, they can't be too far away. Oh, here they are over here. Here we go. I didn't print them all out, but I got the invoices and all of the materials for the entire training. So what I did, I have a little blog here in town, and I want to bring this up on the page here so that you can see it. What I did was write up a little blog post and then post it to the Facebook pages, you know, that cover Plymouth. So that was an intro. We'll get to that in a minute. But let me just bring up the lead here, so to speak. Plymouth South High School spends $7,000 on CRT training session to reject color blindness and to induce white guilt and shame. And the subheadline here, it was in quotes, living racialized experiences every moment of every day. Let's go with the lead here. Let's see if we can bring this in a little bit bigger for you. There we go. Plymouth School spent $7,000 for a day-long critical race training session attended by a select group of students and staff at Plymouth South High School earlier this month. That would be the month of October 2021. Documents obtained by 1620 Today, amongst others. The session was designed to reject color blindness, which is true. I mean, it literally says that right in the documents, and induce white guilt and shame, and have participants recognize that they were living racialized experiences every moment of every day, before eventually asking white participants what type of white person they want to be. Training also asked participants to place themselves on a racial identity development continuum. So it goes on from there. Basically, it was a whole day training with a select number of students and faculty. And then it was an hour-long full faculty session. So $6,000 for the full day training and $1,000 for the 1 hour faculty session, which is the invoice. Listen, I'm going to post all of these documents up on, you know what, I'll just put the link below in this video. Go right to Google Drive. You can read them all for yourself. Let's get back into this. The white racial identity curriculum, because there were 3 different curriculums, whether you were a person of color, biracial, or white. You, according to the curriculum for this full-day training, you saw the world differently based upon the color of your skin exclusively. It had nothing to do with your experiences. It had everything to do with the color of your skin, and there were columns. Depending upon whether you're a person of color, biracial, or white, you saw the world differently. So in the white continuum, whites, talk about generalizing, you know, everything. Of course, sometimes when you overgeneralize, that's, in fact, can be racist, right? Whites, after feeling guilty and ashamed, whites may move into the emergence stage where they start to understand their privilege and how it has and continues to benefit them. They also now begin to take control over the type of white person they want to be. You know, I don't know about you, but that in and of itself seems like it's racist. What is up is down, what's down is up. CRT is racism. Well, and we've covered that in one of the prior videos, but just to reinforce it here. In the first contact stage of being white, so there were stages of being white, and there's a little bit of background. I should probably provide to you some demographic information here in Plymouth. 92% of Plymouth is white. In the context stage of being white, the training asserts that the individual adheres to the colorblind motto, like, for instance, what Dr. King taught us. They see racial difference but do not find it salient, and in fact may feel that racism is in fact propagated by the discussion and acknowledgement of race as an issue. In other words, if you see people for what they are, for the content of their character, this is the first stage on the continuum. You're deluding yourself if you think that you can judge people by the content of their character or their merit. How dare you follow Dr. King's advice? In this stage, there is no conscious demonstration of racism. This seemingly non-racist position can uncover racist beliefs. Because obviously you're racist. You might not say you are, but unconsciously you are. You're biased. This is I think I may have mentioned this before. This is very much like the Crucible. If we take a witch from the 1680s, remember the witch trials in northern Massachusetts and Salem? If we take a witch, we tie her to a chair, and then we dunk the chair in the pond. If she escapes and saves herself, then obviously she uses witchcraft to get out of the chair and come to the top of the pond and save her life. Well, quite clearly she's a witch. But if she cannot escape and she drowns in the bottom of the pond because you tied her to a chair, then God wanted her to die because she was a witch. I mean, that's exactly what this is everyone is guilty of racism, and if you admit it, well, then that's the proof of you admitted it. And if you denied it, well, that's the proof that you're also a racist. It's circular, but this is how this works. And as we talked in one of the prior videos, effectively and eventually, this builds towards a Marxist result, with that everyone should be treated and not only equally, but the outcomes should be equal. That's the very important and fundamental difference between American society and, say, Marxist societies. In America, you get the opportunity to achieve. It's not guaranteed to you. You got to work for it. In Marxist society, you don't get the opportunity, but you get the same result in the end, which means that everyone ends up to be equally miserable. I can't wait. I'm going to do this video for you about how I taught my kids to understand the difference between Democrats and Republicans, capitalists and socialists, with Halloween candy. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I'll be doing that soon. So this was originally posted on Facebook, and then we get into the actual presentation by Henry J. Turner, which is he's the principal of Newton North High School in Massachusetts. So fortunately, with this public records request, I was able to get the entire presentation, and now I'm posting it here for you to see. I'll again link the Google document for you. And one of the most interesting parts was the racial identity development continuum. And I think I've actually brought this up on a Google Drive. Oh, no, we just have to click it here. We'll click it up here, and we'll find it here. We'll find this here for you somehow. I don't know. Oh, we zoom in here. That's fine. I don't think I want to get too deep into this because I want to get into the Facebook comments and how the Facebook comments were handled, because I posted this on all the Facebook pages here in Plymouth. And once again, it's a process, if you're white, where you reject colorblindness, and then eventually you admit that white privilege has benefited you, and that you now have to become an anti-racist. There we go here. You got your stages of development, which, as I said earlier, are different whether you're a person of color, biracial, or white. And then we keep on going to the pseudo-independence stage, immersion. It's amazing how they understand how every white person thinks. And then finally, autonomy. The last stage is reached when an individual has a clear understanding, in other words, confession, of and possible connection to their white racial identity. In other words, how guilty you are. While also actively pursuing social justice. That's the kicker. So the whole idea of this is to transform the people that are receiving this training into social justice warriors, which effectively means changing our entire society from one that's capitalist to one that's communist or socialist. And as you heard me say before, the only difference between socialism and communism is how you spell the words. That is the ultimate stage, the autonomy stage. Let me just blow this up here for you. The last stage is reached when an individual has a clear understanding of, in other words, you recognize how guilty you are, and a positive connection to their white racial identity, which of course is bad, while also pursuing social justice. Yeah. So you have to recognize how bad you are, how much privilege you've gotten, and then you have to endorse policies that basically reimagine America. So we put this up on Facebook. Let me see if we bring that up here. Here we go. And this might take me a second to find the post. Let's see. And then we have to search within the page. And I would say that about the comments, which this post got, on the biggest page in Plymouth, this post got 508 comments, which I think is a lot for any post that I would ever put up. And I think it's also a lot for the Facebook page general. And I know that we've had some other posts that have probably exceeded that, but I don't think I've ever had a post that was so, I don't want to say popular, but garnered so much attention as this particular post. Let's see if we can find it here. Here it is here. And 508 comments, 16 shares. Let's see if we can somehow pull it up. I guess it's not behaving. That's okay. We'll switch off of that for now, and I'm going to summarize it. First off, the first couple of comments of those who did not support it, or what I was talking about in the post. First, there were a lot of people that said that this is not CRT. Then there were a lot of people that said it was CRT, but CRT is okay. Then there were a lot of people that says we should not have a colorblind society, that colorblindness is bad. And I retorted and I said, well, what about the teachings of Dr. King? And they were like, no, those are outdated. And basically they're throwing Dr. King under the bus. And the part that actually got the lefties so upset was the quote in the article, or the beginning of the article, where I indicated that this colorblind training and to reject colorblindness, the whole idea of the training was to reject colorblindness and induce white guilt and shame. That's the part that really triggered the lefties. They said, oh, no, CRT is not supposed to induce white guilt and shame. They're like, no. You just have to understand. And if you look at the materials, it literally says, if you go through this process, you might feel white guilt and shame. It literally says that. That's why I actually, in this article, used a lot of quotes. I didn't want to paraphrase. I didn't want to characterize. I wanted to write a very straight news story. And so that was the part that by far, it really annoyed the lefties, because it's true. And CRT is supposed to induce white guilt and shame. You're supposed to feel bad about who you are. That's the whole point. And until you feel bad and understand how bad you are because of the color of the skin, which you can't control, then you can never make that transition to becoming a social justice warrior. And you'll never justify in your own mind these socialist/communist policies that they want you to support unless you can realize how bad you actually are for something that you can't control. All right, so I'm going to post the link to the Google Drive. You can read all of these documents if you want. Maybe it's going on in your town. You can see how much they got paid, which not a lot of people actually objected to. I was kind of surprised because I thought $7,000 for one day's work was a lot. But I guess this gig pays pretty darn well. Maybe that's one of the reasons why there's so many people that are supporting it, because you can get a pretty darn good gig out of this. So this is one school that this guy did the training in. And, if he does this, let's just say 10 times a year, you're going to make 70 grand. That's not bad for 10 days of work. All right. Hey, I'm John F. Gately. You can call me Jack. I'm joining you from beautiful downtown Plymouth, Massachusetts, behind enemy lines. Have a great day. Talk to you later.